There it was. Let history show that that was it to put them at 14 and a half.
It's my personal belief that 87 was actually more important than 85. There's only one first, and that was it. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a golden time for European golf, the 80s. No question.
We have the best captain and we have the best team, so nothing else to worry about.
I was 9 years old, 1987, the first Ryder Cup that really turned the momentum around for Europe. I remember watching it on TV, getting out to a huge lead. 10.5, 5.5, playing the singles. Unheard of in a away Ryder Cup.
We'd built the confidence, we'd put the time in, we'd been beaten up.
Presenting the trophy to an American captain yet again.
We'd gone through the mill and come out better off for it. There's no substitute for experience.
85 got us our first win at home for a while, and then 87, the momentum kept building.
That's what the Ryder Cup is all about, and the emotion is just building here for these Europeans.
The US were always strong, but we ended up winning, and I remember seeing Jose Maria do his little dance. Even as a 9-year-old kid, those were sort of my earliest memories of a Ryder Cup, and they're pretty powerful ones. We owe Tony Jacklin a lot of praise for that.
Winning at home is one thing, but being able to win in America was just one step further, that we were really there to stay.
Tony Jacklin has been announced as Europe's new captain in their battle to finally win the Ryder Cup.
He was the first one that made us travel on Concorde. We had wonderful clothes, cashmere, made us look really special.
Concorde was fantastic. Cashmere sweaters, leather bags. This was different. Everything was different. And it was all down to Tony.
He pushed very hard for us to fly on Concorde, to have our caddies. Now we actually felt like, oh, we're like the Americans.
He was a hero to us. It was an honor to play under him.
He was a double major winner. He won the US Open in America and he won the Open.
He was instrumental in making the Ryder Cup the event that it is today.
1957, going back to when I was a 13-year-old boy, that was the first time I had the opportunity to see world-class golf. It came to Lindrick, the matches, 60 miles from where we lived in Scunthorpe. My dad took me and I was in seventh heaven. I went back to the club that night and I still got 9 holes in, shot the best 9 holes of my life. Inspiration I got from those wonderful players. I can still see them now. My God, they're all still in my mind's eye. We sort of held the American players in awe. If I wanted to be the best player in the world, which I wanted, I had to come to America. I had to change my whole lifestyle. They were all born with silver spoons in their mouth, for God's sake. Best courses, best weather. I was brought up playing in hosing rain all the time, and. So you were at a big disadvantage, but you knew that. It toughens you. They've always had an advantage.
On this fog-shrouded morning, Tony Jacklin and Arnold Palmer were paired off in what promised to be an exciting match.
I got into my first match in 1967 in Houston. We were wearing anything anybody would give us. That was the bottom line. And you weren't in a position to say anything about it.
Tony was playing on the American tour, and the American tour, you know, they're flush with great shoes, great equipment. So when he was playing in the Ryder Cup for Great Britain and Ireland, he knew that the Americans were getting the best of gear, best of kit. It bothered him. It bothered him. It didn't bother me, but it bothered him.
We couldn't travel with our caddies. You know, we had to take whatever was available locally. We never had a team room. Eric Brown, for example, in '69, told us in the locker room, "Hey lads, gather round. You're playing so-and-so in the morning, you're off at 8:30. Well, how conducive was that sort of situation to creating team spirit? It did zero for it. Nothing.
If ever you needed a putt to go in the hole, it's this one. It's in!
69 became a significant year. I managed to win the Open. I was young, strong, determined. That said, if Jacko can do that, we can do it. You know, reach for the stars, and we tied.
Well done indeed. There won't be a single man here who wanted him to miss it. They halved their match, and the two countries halved the Ryder Cup.
And then, of course, we fell back. Our side was dealing with a confidence problem. We didn't have confidence. We had bravado. It's like, oh, we can beat these guys. Oh, you know, we can do it, but not really knowing. In the 60s, we were more in admiration of the American players. In the late 70s, when Europe came into it, there was more of this wanting to be equals and then wanting to be better.
Representing Great Britain and Europe, the team of Severiano Ballesteros and Antonio Garrido.
You know, Sevi was obviously the leader from a European standpoint. It was where golf was moving. You know, there was one country represented in '79, and now there's 15 European countries being represented. So clearly, it was the right decision, the right way to go. By and large, there was a sort of blah, blah, not a lot of positive energy going on.
For non-playing captain Billy Casper and his American team, winning the 1979 Ryder Cup was a thrilling climax to 3 days of outstanding golf.
We went into the 80s. I got left off the team. Sevi got banned from the team. I think it's an understatement to say we were a bit teed off. I didn't want anything more to do with the Ryder Cup. And Sevi was similar mind.
Welcome to the 1981 Ryder Cup, 3 days between Europe and the United States of America.
81 might have been the strongest American team assembled in the history of the Ryder Cup, I think.
I was working for the Sunday Times, so I pitched up on the Saturday ready to write my piece, and it was very, very wet. The headline on my story was "Sodden and Battered on a Blasted Heath," it being Walton Heath, and that was pretty appropriate. It was the strongest American team. Every player had or would win a major championship except one.
It was my first Ryder Cup. To be honest, we were in awe of them. At least I was in awe of them. We were hammered. We never had a chance from the start.
Larry Nelson has this putt to win the Ryder Cup for America. And he gets it.
That will be sufficient to retain the Ryder Cup for the United States.
It was the first one I'd attended and the first one I'd covered, and little did I know how things were going to rally after that, and the change in coming years was extraordinary.
The next time the Ryder Cup is played, it will be on their soil in America in 2 years' time. I hope you'll be with us again then.
I was very happy to, you know, go sideways and leave it alone. And then the shock of the century, as far as I was concerned, asked me to be captain in '83. I was in such a shock. The only real way of moving forward from that moment was, I said, I'll do it if I have carte blanche to do what I want. And they said, okay. Well, so I said, well, okay. And then I immediately said, what about Seve? You know, what do you think? He said, well, you've accepted the captain's job, is your problem. The first thing I did was arrange to meet with Seve, and he vented. I said, Seve, I know. I've accepted to do this, and I can't do it without you. I have to have you. And, you know, we can get this done. In the end, he said, okay, I help you.
Lanny Watkins, more than a glimmer of hope. And he's done it for the United States of America. Win the Ryder Cup. Great Britain and Europe has never tied or won on this side of the ocean, but what an effort they made this year. Came down to the final point in the match.
Oh boy, you talk about being gutted. Oh, it was awful. That single point got so close. And I think it was Seve, you know, who said, you know, hey, you know, don't be so sad. You know, this is the best we've ever done in America. Of course, he was right, but God, it hurt at the time. It was massive disappointment.
The European players, they came to play, and we had to accommodate them, and fortunately, we held on.
We knew that we can definitely beat these guys. We can definitely beat them. And that was what we took away from it. We'd been having our arses kicked for 40 years, but now it was our turn.
We're competitors. You know, we don't fall down easy.
Intense, tight competition is done for another 2 years.
The European side has played fantastic, and we have seen some golf.
There's no question that things changed dramatically between 83 and 85. So the signs were there. There were footprints in the sand. You could see that European golf was on the march. There was a lot of burning desire to put the record straight and to prove that European golf was better than the Americans thought it was.
We got to the Belfry, and self-belief had taken over from this bravado. There was a strong sense of that. It was during the first 2 days, Stadler missed a little putt on the last hole, and I was watching that with Seve, and Seve jumped. It's like, that's our chance. This is going to turn the thing around, and it did. God did it.
On the final day, something exploded inside me. I mean, I birdied 10, I birdied 11, I birdied 13, I birdied 15, I birdied 17, and I birdied 18. to win on the last green, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I've never forgotten it, I never will.
To be able to get it done in front of the home crowd, and I still can't believe it's 40 years since we stood on that roof and champagne was going everywhere. And a lot of people had a lot of fun that day. Not least me, because I had my backside kicked 6 times out of the 7 I played, and I knew all about losing. Heartbroken in '83, nearly getting it done on the home ground. What was the only extension beyond that? Winning away from home for the first time. That was the bait, and we were ready. What we had was momentum.
The emergence of Ballesteros and Langer, and Lyle, and Faldo, and Woosnam, and Olazabal, God, the like we'd never seen before. We were at the beginning of a golden period, and it was a golden period to be covering it too.
The first time I went into the team room with all those guys, the 5, and I said, there's a hook outside this door, and if you've got an ego, hang it on there before you come through it, because in here, there's no room for ego from anybody.
That takes courage, and it takes a lot of communication to handle those egos, those big guys. He really inspired them to feel like a collective was always stronger than, you know, the individuals. And let's show these Americans like that we can compete, even with just 5 really strong players and maybe some 6, 7 rookies that a lot of these Americans hadn't heard of, that we can compete against these guys.
Everybody was kind of relying on those top 6 or 7 players, so many of us had to play 5 rounds, which is really tiring. You play 36 holes, 2 days in a row, and then the singles. I mean, you were exhausted at the end of the week.
Most of the time, you know, I was there just watching and trying to learn as much as I could. Having all those names in the team, imagine a rookie, a 21-year-old kid being in that group. So it was overwhelming. You know, the atmosphere, the team environment is unique. Being paired with Seve made it even more special.
Seve was my on-course general, if you like. There's nothing I could ask him that he wouldn't do, Seve. If I thought somebody was maybe not mixing in like they should into the, you know, I'd get Seve to go in the team room and give him a shoulder rub, you know. Hey, I watched you today. You hit the ball good, eh? You're playing good. And, you know, he would, oh, well, Seve, you know. That's what it's all about, keeping everybody up.
When we were on the golf course, we had similar mentalities, or at least we saw the game of golf in a similar way. The chemistry between the two of us, I think, helped us to do so well.
It was the first time Seve and Ollie together, Langer and Lyle, Faldo and Woosnam. They could have beaten them on their own that week, the golf they played. I played the first morning with Howard Clark and didn't play again to the singles, and I didn't care. Just watching what was going on, this golf that they were playing was just magnificent.
Yes. Well, he has certainly putted well all week.
I mean, Jack Nicklaus is my hero. He designed the course, he was captain. But we were good.
Sam scoring another point. And so, the European side is moving very, very close to victory.
Our song was Hit the Road, Jack, which was played every night, quite loud in our team room. I won't try and sing it, but it's going on in my head.
Well, there's a situation. Europe with 12 points needs only 2 to guarantee themselves at least a tie, and a tie would retain the Ryder Cup for them because a tie favors the holder.
The thing is not to be shocked by it and not to be moved by it in in any way but a positive way.
And now Darcy has this to win the match.
Wonder what thoughts are going through Tony's mind.
Self-belief was the key to that. You know, they're feeling the pressure as well. They're not immune. You know, it's very easy to think that you're the only one that's feeling the heat.
Just rolling.
Yes,
that's a crucial point. A crucial point.
God bless Eamon Darcy for making that sort of 4.5 footer on that 18th green, making sure that we couldn't lose, and then ultimately Seve holding the winning putt.
And there it was. Let history show that that was it, to put them at 14.5. Ballesteros has had an incredible week here.
We just got to the 17th green in time to see Seve embracing his opponent, and they had indeed won. Why the hell am I crying? But it was such a wonderful moment. And I was trying to be an impartial, impassive journalist, but my natural feelings of enthusiasm and excitement for him and everything. And Tony was there. Tony cried. Seve was there. Everybody cried. We were all in bloody tears. It was wonderful.
Being a rookie, winning away, well, is it all that special? Well, you don't realize that, but obviously for all the big names, the big five and the experienced players that played Ryder Cups before, they were very aware of what we had achieved. You could see that in the way we celebrated, in the joy that the team had afterwards.
I'd seen and endured a lot of the losses myself. And then to see this confidence come and take the place of the bravado that was it. It was never going to get any better than that.
It's the greatest week of my life, Ed. I can't tell you. It's just can't speak. Can't speak.
It was an incredible victory and had to be devastating for Czech and his team because they were highly favored and they had the crowds behind them and we didn't, and we still pulled through. So it was a very big confidence booster, you know, for the future.
I have to say that every time I see those images, I'm ashamed of myself. But anyways, yeah, it was just something that came up like that. The band was there and they were, I think they were playing La Cucaracha. I think it was something like that. That's what happened. But it's one of those moments that will stick in history, and I'm not sure if it's a reason to be proud of or not.
Give me a cue.
You know, that's sort of where the rivalry started, and Tony Jacklin was a big part of that. He started that process. You know, he started to bring together what the crest meant, what playing for the shield of Europe really meant. And we owe Tony a lot because of that.
The Ryder Cup meant a great deal. Looking back, I have friendships and memories from Ryder Cups that will last me my whole lifetime.
This is the greatest week of my life. That's what
being able to help the Ryder Cup along, being a part of it, being a captain, being able to make a difference, that's massive to me.
I believe that Tony Jacklin said it all, gentlemen.